Good morning, and can I thank Minister Byrne for being here. I suppose, Minister, as the former chairman of the Oireachtas Health Committee, which had pre-legislative scrutiny of the Public Health Alcohol Bill, which has now become the Public Health Alcohol Act, and Minister Byrne, who was, of course, a very valued member of the committee, now Minister of State in the department, I think, Cathaoirleach, we're waiting on the enactment of the minimum unit price part of the Public Health Alcohol Act, and this has been since October of 2018. And if members and those watching and listening today, Cathaoirleach, would just observe the advertising of alcohol and alcohol being used as a loss leader by the retail sector in the last couple of months, one could only but be alarmed. And if you compare in a 10-year period, every day, Cathaoirleach, yes. If you compare in a 10-year period, a bottle of Jameson in 2019 was €20. Today is in 2009, it was €26.99. Smirnoff 700ml was €13.99 today. It was €22.49 in 2009. Bailey's is €10 today. It's €18.60. Hennessy €25 was €30.99. Bacardi was €15 and €24.99. I just picked those examples. You could also pick beer.
Can I correct you on one item?
You can.
Correct your ad. I've seen ads for one of those brands you mentioned. Litre bottle, 20.
Yes. Some shops are selling, are advertising you buy two for is it 20 or 30 euro? And I'm not complaining about the retailers, Cathaoirleach, even though I am, because we have a problem with below cost selling. And what I want to do and what I want to see here is to ensure that we have local businesses surviving, that we have jobs being created, but we have in effect not dealt with an issue around the misuse of alcohol, given the importance of the Public Health Alcohol Bill. And in this House, Cathaoirleach, we had very stringent debates around particular sections of the Public Health Alcohol Bill, now the Public Health Alcohol Act. And what I'm saying, and I know there's a variety of viewpoints, but what we must do is to have a sensible approach to alcohol, to the selling of alcohol in terms of its pricing, and also to the way in which we sell and serve alcohol, but also to ensure that the retail sector of our economy is responsible. And by and large they are, and many of them are very responsible. But the price, Minister, and the price, Cathaoirleach, is one where the VAT, at 23% is included in the prices I just mentioned there. It demonstrates both the VAT returns are being lost, but also what damage has been done. For example, young people now are buying alcohol at a cheaper rate and in a much easier way than it was perhaps a decade ago. So, what I'm saying and what I'm asking for is that, the price of alcohol in our retail sector is now very cheap. The Alcohol Act was a map and a roadmap within which we as a state signed up to. And I know we were waiting on Scotland and the EU ruling, but could I just conclude by saying that, the other point I make, and I'll finish in this. If you take, for example, the loyalty card in Dunnes Stores, you can get money back on a variety of goods, alcohol included. If you spend, we'll say, €50, you get €10 back. And I'm just picking a number now, right? But you can't get to use it on baby products. So the mother and father of the family who are buying nappies or buying baby products can't get to use that. So I would impart to this, which is different. I try to, Cathaoirleach. So what I'm saying is that because alcohol is so cheap, the retail sector are using it. But why can't, for example, Dunnes and the loyalty card say to the mum and dad, or the single mother, or the two dads, or the two mums, use it for your kid to buy nappies, baby products, rather than alcohol? So what I'm saying is that we need to see a change around the price of alcohol. Let's make the minimum unit pricing that we passed, let's see it set into law, or come into effect. We have the Act, and I think my points are made, Cathaoirleach, so thank you.
Minister.
And I'll address some of the questions that Senator Buttimer has raised. Anyway, I want to thank Senator Buttimer for raising the matter. The Public Health Alcohol Act was enacted on the 17th of October 2018. On the 1st of November, Minister Harris commenced 23 of its 31 sections. Some of the sections have already become law by reenacting and advertising promotion of alcohol or changing the environment in which our children will grow up. Last November, 3 of the advertising provisions of the Act came into force and provided that alcohol advertising in a public service vehicle at public transport stop and stations were prohibited. Alcohol advertising was also prohibited for 200 metres of a school and a creche or a local authority playground. Alcohol advertising in cinemas was prohibited except in a licensed area that around films with AD certificate. Children's clothing that promote alcohol was banned. Next year, the 12th of November, our supermarkets and other mixed retail outlets will look different as alcohol products and advertising of alcohol products will be confined to either a single area of the shop, which will be separated by a 1.2 metre high barrier, or a storage unit in which alcohol products cannot be seen to the height of 1.5 metres, or a maximum of 3 standard storage units with no visible restrictions. In addition to these areas of the shop, alcohol products will also be allowed to be in store but not visible in units behind the counter. From the 12th of November 2021, there will be a prohibition of alcohol advertising on the sports area during sporting events, at events that aim at children, at the events in which a majority of participants or competitors are children. Alcohol sponsorship of events which are aimed at children or events in which majority of participants or competing are children will also be prohibited. Finally, driving or racing events involving motor vehicles which are no longer allowed to be sponsored by alcohol companies from November 2021. The 8 sections of the Act have yet to be commenced. These include Section 12 on the labelling of alcohol products and Section 13 on the contents of advertising for alcohol products. These 2 sections will not be commenced until regulations which will be made under them have been finalised and submitted for assessment at EU level. On other regulations has existed the EU process. Once the regulations have been enacted, the EU process, Minister Harris will commence the sections and businesses will know well in advance exactly what their obligations will be in relation to labelling and advertising of the products. On a minimum unit pricing, we are determined to implement the measures as soon as possible. When the government of the day approached the drafting of the Public Alcohol Bill in 2013, a specific and implementation of minimum unit pricing should happen simultaneously both north and south of the border in order to meet concerns where possible impact on cross-border trade. The suspension administration of the Northern Ireland has meant that our colleagues have not been able to progress this legislation. In the coming weeks, maybe we might see different developments in this regard, but if the implementation of minimum unit pricing continues to be delayed, the Minister for Health intends to seek a revised government decision to allow minimum pricing to be implemented here without the need of simulations implementation in Northern Ireland. Can I just say I met the Minister for Health for Scotland at the British and Irish Council, and we discussed about minimum pricing. And one of the things he did say was, since they brought it in, has made a huge reduction, particularly in cheap alcohol being sold, particularly to young people and more vulnerable people, but also that there was no implications for people crossing from England into Scotland for buying cheaper alcohol in England. So I do think, just on the last note, the health and well-being of our young people is very important, and we all know the difficulties young people face and the pressure that are on them. And today we see many young people drinking a lot earlier, even as 11 or 12 young people are even starting to drink now. So it's really important that when we take legislation like this through the Senate or through the Dáil, that we act as quickly as we can. Unfortunately, with the minimum unit pricing, because of what happened in the North, it has delayed the implementation of that, but I am assured from Minister Harris that he will seek the government decision to allow minimum pricing to be implemented as soon as possible. That doesn't have to be in conjunction with Northern Ireland if the Northern Ireland Assembly isn't back up running. And I'll speak to some of the other points.
Thank you, Minister. And the Senator might like to have a supplementary.
I want to thank Minister Byrne for her response and also for her personal commitment. I suppose the main point, Garrick, is that retailers are using alcohol products, particularly alcohol by the volume, like whisky, vodka, to drive footfall and to increase market share. And as Minister Byrne said, young people today are drinking at an earlier age, they're drinking a variety of alcohol products, and minimum unit pricing, from our work in the committee and what we debated in the House of Oireachtas, is an important part of combating cheap alcohol products. And I would make the point that the risk of public health is too great, and the Minister's commitment is unquestionable, and I accept that. And I would just make the point in conclusion that it's important, Catherlough, that we would say to retailers like Dunnes Stores, in your value club money back, let's give it to parents to be able to use for baby products and not just for alcohol. Thank you.
I'll address that now in the reply. Okay. In September, Minister Harris submitted a draft regulation made under the Public Alcohol Act for assessment of compatibility with the EU law and initial market principles. The purpose of the regulations is to restrict price and promotions of alcohol products. Now the EU assessment process is completed, it is Minister Harris' intention to make those regulations in the new year and to prohibit the use of loyalty card points in relation to alcohol products, the sale of alcohol products at a reduced price and purchase of another product or service, short-term price promotions of alcohol products as well. There will be a one-year lead into the time for business and for consumers to prepare for these changes. These regulations and minimum unit pricing are both designed to ensure that alcohol products can no longer be sold at a very low price. Together with these measures, we will continue to our objective of delaying the initial of alcohol use by young children and young people, and will also ensure that the price of alcohol reflects the serious nature and the harms that are caused when it is misused. I want to thank Senator Buttimer for raising the matter and look forward to continued support from the House here on this very important process in how we can bring the level of drinking, particularly with young people and most people who are very vulnerable as well, down to a reduced level, and it is happening in Scotland. So there's a mirror image in Scotland. What's happening at the moment, because of minimum unit pricing, has reduced the amount of alcohol being drinking, particularly with vulnerable and young children as well. So I think we continue on that. But I do agree with Senator Buttimer about the loyalty card, and as one who shops all the time in Dunnes, I'm very conscious of the fact now I'm picking up nappies and baby food for the children we have at home, and I'm conscious of the fact that the loyalty card doesn't give an opportunity for young parents particularly to avail of that, but it is for those who want to go in and buy 3 or 4 bottles of spirits off the shelf. So I will raise it back again, Minister Harris, during the day, and to thank Senator Buttimer.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Senator.